Well, apparently the Shadow Beasts don't even stand much of a chance against Uvo and his immense power, but what a great episode, boy, I tell you.
Hunter x Hunter, episode 44, Build Up to a Fierce Battle.
Well, they didn't last long. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and hunters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-packed and very grisly and bloody these last couple of episodes, Tale of Hunter x Hunter 2011. Now, our last episode, of course, saw us with, and the name had escaped me, of the big Wolverine-looking dude, and his name is Uvogin. Or Uvogin, called Uvo for short, and he was the one that was just tearing through everybody, all the kind of red shirts, I guess you'd say, the fodder for the mafia, and as Kurapika, and that's how they say it in the show. Everybody says, well, just say it how they say it in the show. They say Kurapika. They don't even like put that there's like an I somewhere in there. So, and I try to say Kurapika or Kurapaka. Anyway, Kurapika and the rest of the company, Melody and such over there, have kind of seen from a distance what's going on and chose to stay out for right now out of the battle. At the end of the episode, the Shadow Beasts appeared, and you know, there was a leech and porcupine and mole, I think was the other one. And anyway, very cool stuff though. So they appeared, and that was how it ended. You know, with okay, we're gonna take care of this dude. You know. So that's right where things pick up over here, and man, what another action-packed episode, you know? And I went and I wrote down some of my stuff for my notes over here. Oh, that's what it was. It wasn't mole. It was worm. Worm, rabbit, dog, leech, and porcupine. But anyway, what winds up happening is everyone but Worm, rabbit, dog, leech, and porcupine, kind of going in a pier to get close to Uvo. And Uvo, he hasn't even really broken a sweat after he's torn through, like, just literally hundreds of people, you know? And the rest of the fandom troop that are with him, you know, the other 4, 5, 6 members are just kind of sitting up there, and and he's like, stay out of this. And they're playing cards and shit, hanging out, because they're just like, whatever, you know? He's no fun, but he doesn't need our help. So anyway, Uvo's like, oh, good, finally, a challenge, you know? And what winds up happening, he's like, you guys think you'll be able to take me out? I'm so powerful, and, you know, just the usual boasting thing. But what winds up happening is Worm winds up coming up and appearing behind him and just going, boom, and just blindsiding him, jacking him up, right? But his whole hand looks like it kind of crumbles, almost like he broke his knuckles or whatever, and this thing just sort of looks like this gelatinous mass anyway. But, anyway, what winds up happening, though, is he goes and he's like, oh, yeah, that actually kind of hurts, you know? And he goes and just Uvo hits it, and the whole side of the face just caves in right on Worm. But Worm winds up grabbing onto his arm and pulling his arm down underground with him, because obviously he can tunnel and burrow and whatnot. And thinks that he has him held and captured, and you know, and basically you can either get sucked underground and die with me, or you can let the other 3 take care of you up there, you know. And Uvo's just like, ha 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 ha, and he's laying there, he's got his arm like in the ground, and he's just like, you think you've got me? He just goes and charges up, man, and just goes, boom! And I mean, a huge crater just appears, like a 100-foot crater, and it's a big blast, something that he's got, you know? And it's basically like a Nen charged punch, but this dude is so strong anyway, that, I mean, this is like a Hulk smash, you know, and just huge crater appears, and this dude, nothing's left but his hand of Worm, you know? So he's just kind of like, oh, you think you can take me out? And I mean, the fight was just amazing. I thought it was great. And next he winds up going, and the 3 are going to go attack him at once. And he goes to go and punch the next one, the little one that's Porcupine, right? And it's just this little bald-looking kid, you know? That's what it looks like. Goes and punches him, and the thing sticks to his hand, and apparently can take the hairs on his body and manipulate them and make them harder, spiky-like, and actually go and penetrate into his skin, and he can't, you know, and more or less make like a shield that cannot be penetrated, you know? So then he's like, oh, okay, you know, and he's, well, I'll just use you to punch into somebody else, you know? And he goes to punch into somebody else, and he says, yeah, but I can make the ones at the back or wherever I want, whatever side, be soft or whatever, you know? So there's not much you can do to me. And he goes to do that to the one that's called Leech. So anyway, the one that's the rabid dog then goes and comes by and just like and just comes by and just takes a big old bite out of his shoulder, you know, and just rips right through. And the other Phantom Troop members are sitting up there and they're like, wow, these must be some pretty powerful Nen users if they're actually able to, you know, bust through his skin and everything else, you know. Anyway, and then the Rabid Dog winds up, you know, hitting him again, and then Leech winds up getting around behind him, and Leech actually goes and that's his whole power is he can secrete leeches from his body, and they'll go in and enter his wounds, and then basically, you know, they'll wind up poisoning him or wind up killing him eventually. And then after a couple of minutes, Uvo finally goes and kind of crashes down to his knees and then sits down and falls down. And we find out that the actual bites that he sustained from the Rabid Dog Shadow Beast, you know, that he has a tranquilizer, you know, that would normally knock out somebody instantaneously, but obviously this Uvo is much stronger, much more powerful. So it looks like these Shadow Beasts are actually getting the upper hand on him, you know? And so they're telling him he's paralyzed from the neck down. All he can do is move his head, but he can still, you know, feel pain and have that sense of fear and everything else, right? So dude goes and I love this, man. He's got Porcupine Guy right on his hand, right on his right hand, and leeches behind him over his shoulder where he secreted all the leeches. All of a sudden he just goes and just fucking bites half of Leech's head off, right? And just, I mean, completely off. And he's just like, you think you're the only one that can bite? And I'm like, what the hell? And then Rabid Dog goes and kind of taunts him. He's like, yeah, but you can't hit me from over there, you know, because he tells him you can just take him out with, all he needs is his head to take him out anyway, right? Dude turns, Uvo turns and goes, poof, and freaking spits a projectile like bullet. That's what they call it. Rabid Dog calls it or whatever, and tries to put up his hand to use some Nen to block it, but it's spit with such, the projectile was spit, and it's actually a piece of this dude Leech's skull. So this is getting good, man. It's getting gory. Goes right through his hand, right through his head. Boom, now Rabid Dog's done. Leech is done, and we know obviously that the Mole Man Worm is done. So Porcupine's like, okay, well, you know, I'm just trying to think. He's like, okay, well, there's no way that he can get to me and get through, you know, there's no way that he could do that to me, because, you know, my hairs will protect me, right? Then he goes and he's like, and everybody, all the Phantom Troop guys, are like, oh shit, they cover their ears, dude, and he just lets out this, like, just blood-curdling howl, yell type thing or whatever, and the sound waves that emit from his mouth are so strong that they just literally go, and he can't block sound, Porcupine can't block sound, and he just literally winds up, the hairs and everything go limp, blood starts coming out of his ears. We're assuming that he hit like an embolism or something in his brain just freaking popped from the sound, you know? This dude, Uvo, is hardcore. And this is only really one of the Phantom Troop members that we've seen, right? I mean, like, in real action, actually going against and battling people. So, as this is all going on, and Kurapika and everyone is kind of on, you know, the onlookers and whatnot, Kurapika just goes and is like, you know what? That's it. Just starts walking towards him, you know? And he's freaking, you know, and Melody's like, you know, I don't want him to go in there and get killed and this and that, so Melody goes and breaks up this flute and starts playing this freaking, you know, Zelda-like tune, you know, anyway, I don't know how I still remember that, but it was a nice soothing tune, and it just basically gets everybody to chill out, you know, it's like he just went and gave everybody just a little relaxing chill pill. Everybody smoked a joint and sang Kumbaya and was happy, and everybody's chilling, you know. Kurapika's like, yeah, thanks for the calming me down and everything else, but I'm still gonna go and capture him, right? so Kurapika goes and asks their leader if that's okay if he goes and does that. The whole time Uvo's sitting down there, and of course he's paralyzed now, and he's asking if he can, you know, if she can use Blinky to Shizuku, if she can use Blinky to go and suck out the poison and leeches. She's like, I can suck out the poison, but Blinky can't suck out anything that's like alive, right? So he's like, well, what the hell am I going to do? So one of the other dudes jumps down and says, listen, these leeches, if they wind up making it through and they have the right amount of ammonia released, they'll hatch eggs, and what they'll do is as they go through, work their way through your body, they'll come out your bladder, and you'll piss them out in like a day, but the pain will be so extreme it'll kill you, right? And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. But they won't hatch if you can keep your ammonia levels low enough, so basically you just got to drink beer for the next day or so until you pass these through, and then they'll just harmlessly come out of you, right? So they're about to get him all wrapped up and start to get him fixed and everything. You know, Shizuku's coming down there with their Blinky vacuum cleaner, pool cleaner looking thing, about to do that. And all of a sudden, man, because remember, they're sitting in this crater, right? You know, all of a sudden, he gets wrapped up. Uvo, his big, strong ass that we just saw take out people, like just, you know, hundreds of people like it was nothing, gets wrapped up in the frickin' chains of justice for Kurapika, gets pulled out and just into the darkness, you know. They wind up, one of them, the Phantom Troop, one of the girls winds up shooting like a Nen needle or whatever, you know, and it's, as long as nobody uses Gaio, you know, they won't know that I've actually done this, and we can track him and trace him. Anyway, they wind up making a beeline out of there. Next thing we see them, they're driving through the desert, you know, rolling a couple deep in their cars or whatever. And dude's sitting in the back seat, Uvo is now. Now remember how easily he took out these shadow beasts like they were nothing while he was incapacitated. Now he's still incapacitated because of the poison and everything like that. To some degree, he can move his head, but he ain't got no more tricks now, right? And then Kurapika is driving, not only driving, but got the chains, the magical chains on him, restricted him. The chains are infused with Nen, and they're like these chains of justice, I like to call them, or whatever. And however Kurapika has set it up with his mind and his heart and everything else, he set it up to where they will only, he will only use them to capture Phantom Troop members, right? And if he ever tries to use it for anything other than that, or to capture someone else other than that, what'll wind up happening is he'll actually wind up dying. You know, it's some kind of, almost like a spell, I guess, that he's put on himself. Almost like a promise that he's made to himself. But the promise goes a little bit deeper than that, because if he tries to use it for anything other than capturing the Phantom Troop members, he'll instantly die. And that's how the frickin' thing leaves. And it's great because Uvo's even sitting there, he's talking shit in the back, like, you better kill me now and this and that. And Kurapika's like, shut up, and just tightens the chains on him. And I'm thinking, God damn, when did Kurapika get this strong, right? Anyway, and he's going, and he's like, you know, even though my body's paralyzed, I can feel it constricting on me, but even if it wasn't, this is some next level Nen shit. I would have trouble actually trying to get free from these chains. And this dude is the self-proclaimed strongest person in the Phantom Troop, physically, right? So, that's how the episode ends off, man. And I just thought it was excellent from start to finish. I mean, bloody and violent, and you don't always need that to have a great show, but I think with some of these powers that you see on display, you have to have some level of violence and some, you know, not so much just gratuitous type stuff, but really there has to be some blood. There has to be some, oh, I just bit that dude's head off and whatnot, because you want to show that he's this feral beast, you know. I thought it was great. Very good stuff. Anyway, that's how things leave off over here. So, my episode question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is what were your thoughts on Uvo, and obviously his way of just kind of running through these shadow beasts, some of his moves, his moveset, his powers, and then, of course, Kurapika, and, man, just using the magical chains of justice on his ass. Let me know what your answer is to those questions in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and even my other channel.